What's up, fam? How y'all doing today on this fantastic, beautiful, miraculous, awesome Monday? What's happening? TSC Unleashed, we in the building. Spectacular, gorgeous Monday, man. Nice day. Great day to be a Saints fan. We sitting up here at 5-2. Got a trade in the works that happened. We'll cover that later on the 5 o'clock show. But big ups to the family members in the chat. Big ups to your brother Jerry, brother JT. How you doing, fam? And the rest of the family members chiming in the chat. Please hit the like button. And thank you for joining us for Monday edition of TSC Unleashed. We're going to recap week 8 of NFL action and a few trades. Of course, the Saints trade and another trade with involving the Chargers as they traded a cornerback to the Titans. So that's another one. We'll break that down. I'm Big Q joining in on this episode of TSC Unleashed. Got my co-host Uncle Mozzi will be joining us momentarily on this edition of the stream. And without further ado, we'll get into a few of the things that happened today. I mean, yesterday, man, week 8, wasn't it a crazy week of football that occurred? We're going to open it up by talking about the Buffalo Bills 24-21 win over the New England Patriots. What's most interesting is the fact that the Patriots try to make a game of it. Ultimately, Cam had a terrible turnover that helped seal the deal for Buffalo. New England's falling through the fold. They're 2-5. So I guess Tom Brady's doing his thing. So I guess he gets the last laugh against Bill Belichick, right? There it is. Buffalo Bills 24-21 behind the arm of Josh Allen, 11 of 18. 154, he had an interception in the game. He was sacked 1. He didn't have a pretty good game. It was a struggle for most of the game. Devin Singletary, 14 carries for 86 yards. Zach Moss, the former Florida product, he the one that really got busy in this one. 14 carries for 81 yards, average 6 yards per carry. He had 2 rushing touchdowns in the matchup. Plus drew Josh Allen in there, who scrambled 10 times for 23. They had 38 carries for 190 yards, 5 yards a carry, and 3 rushing touchdowns. They beat them on the ground, man. Stephon Diggs, 6 catches, 92 yards on the day off of 9 targets. Cole Beasley, who had a fantastic outing last game, only 2 catches off of 2 targets this time around. Cam Newton, 15 of 25, 174, no touchdowns, no interceptions. Damian Harris was their top back, 16 carries, 102, and a rushing touchdown. They made it competitive. Jacoby Myers was their top receiving threat, 6 catches, 58 yards, not good enough. 24-21, Buffalo, 6-2, New England, 3-5 in this matchup. How about that? How about that for Bill Belichick against Tom Brady? Going to the next matchup, the Cincinnati Bengals, man, trying to climb out of the hole that they made for themselves. They had a 31-20 win over Tennessee, which was it was probably the second surprise matchup of Week 8's NFL action. Cincinnati and Joey B, man, who continues to throw the ball at a high clip, 26 of 37. He had 249 yards. He had 2 touchdowns. This was a really good game for Joey B. As you can see, he's getting attached to that offense pretty well. Giovanni Bernard, 15 carries for 62 yards. He had a rushing touchdown. So did Samij Perine, who had 10 carries for 32, also had a score. And T. Higgins was the top target. Him and Tyler Boyd, 6 catches, 78 yards for T. Higgins off of 9 targets. Tyler Boyd, 6 catches for 67 yards and a score. 7 from Auden Tate for 65 yards as well. As Joey Burrow lit him up 31-20. Ryan Tannehill was 18 of 30 for 233. He had 2 touchdowns and an interception in the matchup. Derrick Henry had 18 carries for 112 and a score. But beyond that, Corey Davis lit him up, 8 catches, 128 yards and a score as well for 10 targets. Not enough. Bengals 31-20 over the Tennessee Titans as they advance 2-5. Big win by the Cincinnati Bengals. I most certainly didn't see that coming. But you know what they say about anything can happen in the NFL. Let's move on to the next matchup, family. We're going to talk about the Raiders. Getting a win, they're stopping the Cleveland Browns 16-6 in the matchup. 16-6, the Browns. Derek Carr's 15 of 24 for 112. Not much there. He had a touchdown. Josh Jacobs was the bell cow, and I mean that literally. 31 carries for 128, average 4.1 yards per carry. Derek Carr scrambled 6 times for 41 yards. That was about 7 yards per rush. And then Devontae Booker, they didn't give him 5 carries, 29 yards, average almost 6 yards. Anyway, the bottom line is that they ran 45 times as a team for 208 yards, averaged just under 5 yards a rush. And the Las Vegas beat them bully ball style. Cleveland couldn't respond to that. Darren Waller, 5 catches for 28 yards. Hunter Renfrow, 4 for 26 in the matchup. Baker Mayfield, 12 for 25, 122. Couldn't get anything going in the matchup. He stunk. And of course, Kareem Hunt, 14 carries, 66 yards, averaged just under 5 yards a rush in the matchup. Landry, 4 catches, 52 yards off of 11 targets. They just wasn't there. Cleveland takes them, Las Vegas takes the win 4-3 after losing to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in a dramatic fashion. They come back with a 10-point decision, 16-6 win over the Cleveland Browns. They're now 5-3 as the Raiders are 4-3. Uncle Mozzi joins the stream. How you doing, Uncle Mozzi?
I'm lovely. It's action-packed Sunday as usual. Going into tonight, which will be action-packed night tonight. You know, we always love Mondays because of Sundays, and I am here to bless everybody with my beautiful voice amongst the fan base and everybody who wants to come at me. I have a target on my back today, so I hope you guys got your arrows because I'm in the building.
Okay, well, I tell you what, Uncle Mozzi, we're gonna give you an opportunity to respond and count on some of the matchups. You just recovered. We just did our first triad of games. Raiders 16-6 over the Browns. We also talked about Tennessee and Joey Burrow getting a quality win over the Tennessee Titans 31-20. And then of course the Patriots fall on their face against the Bills 24-21. You want to care to talk about those trial of games before we go to the next ones?
Yeah, sure. First off, we can go ahead and touch on the New England game, man. New England is it's evident now that it wasn't Belichick. It was definitely Tom Brady. We all had our hunches all along that it wasn't Belichick's system as much as it was Tom Brady's determination and will to win, because we obviously see what he's doing in Tampa Bay, and we know where they were for the last 3-4 years, and we can clearly see where they are today. We'll definitely see where they are tonight. But Tom Brady was the winning culture in that whole situation, and Belichick's system, although on the defensive side was awesome, it was Tom Brady's will and determination, as well as his on-field presence that got those guys moving on the offensive side of the ball. Buffalo is, I'm sure they're overjoyed and happy the way things are going. Currently they will win this division. I've said that all along. I do think Miami has a remote outside shot at winning this division, or at least giving them a run for the division. But hands down, I definitely think that it's Buffalo's to either win or lose. As far as Las Vegas, they continue to impress. They don't disappoint. That AFC West is real competitive. They got a real quality win over the Browns, a team that everybody felt, at least before the OBJ injury, was on a come up and had an opportunity to at least make the playoffs, or at least make mention of their name. And they've done enough this season so far to have a completely 180-degree turnaround from where they were last year. The OBJ thing was kind of, nobody saw that coming, but they can survive without him, because he was just more of a fan type situation than anything. For his productivity, the productivity has always been through Jarvis Landry and through the run game that they have out there. So it's one of those things they kind of just shake off and pull themselves together and figure it out. And Joey B with the super quality win over Tennessee. This is the Tennessee Titan team that went all the way to the AFC Championship last year, and they only added pieces. They only got better. They only congealed and got more focused this year, because they know where they went last year and where they could potentially be this year with only the Ravens and maybe Kansas City being heralded over them in the AFC. Mainly due, they're a blue collar team. Not to mention they didn't see Pittsburgh coming out this year doing what they did, or what they're doing, or in the process of doing. So, that was a real quality win for Joey B. If they can protect him and keep him healthy and stop him from being on his ass 75% of the game, they can string along some wins and be productive. But they still got to change their culture up there. They got a run game now. Joey B is seeming to come into his own because he's taking his bumps and bruises, and he's learning exactly what the do's and don'ts are of the NFL compared to the collegiate game. But they still got to get better protection from him. Until they get that protection, I just don't see this team winning over, I don't know, 4 or 5 games this season. But Joey B will stand and deliver. And you, from the statistical standpoint, if you look at the scoreboard and the box score, you'll definitely see his stats there every week. Although the win-loss column won't reflect it.
Yeah, Joey Burrow, man. I tell you what, man. If they can protect him, man. I mean, they got the weapons, there that's gonna blossom into something. This might not be their year, but let me tell you something, man. I'm most certainly like what the future is looking like in Cincinnati with Joey B up there. Let's move on to the next trio of matchups. The Indianapolis Colts were able to get the best of the Detroit Lions, who were, putting a little something together, but they got smacked down by 20 points by the Colts. Phillip Rivers was 23 of 33 for 262. He had 3 touchdowns in this matchup, despite the fact that he was sacked a couple of times. It was 85.9 on the QBR. Jonathan Wilkins, running back, 20 carries, 89 yards. He averaged 4.5 yards per carry, had a rushing touchdown as well in the matchup. And of course, Indianapolis wide receivers' top threats were Nyheim Hines, 3 catches for 54 yards off 5 targets. Zach Pascal, 3 for 44 as well. And also, Hines had 2 receiving touchdowns in the matchup as well. Matthew Stafford, 24 42 for 336, had 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. He was sacked 5 times in the matchup. Not much rushing attack is why Detroit was in trouble. Jamal Agnew, I mean, this was pathetic. They were, as a team, you talking about Agnew, Stafford, Peterson, and Swift. 13 carries, 29 rushing yards, 2.2 yards per rush. That was a joke. They were totally one-dimensionalized by the Colts in this matchup, and they couldn't do anything. Marvin Hall, 4 catches, 113 off of 7 targets. TJ Hawkinson had 7 for 65 off of 10 targets. Nothing happening for Detroit. They go down 41-21 to the Indianapolis Colts. The Minnesota Vikings were able to take care of the Green Bay Packers for us in the matchup as the Packers go down 5-2. Vikings come alive and take care of business 28-22. Kirk Cousins 11-14, 161 touchdown. He was sacked once, but the real bell cow was Dalvin Cook. He came back and ran all over the Packers. He had 30 rushes, 163 yards. He averaged 5.4 yards per rush, and he had 3 rushing touchdowns in his goddamn matchup. He also was good enough in the receiving game. He caught 2 catches for 63 yards and had 1 touchdown receiving. So Dalvin Cook was responsible for 4 touchdowns, all 4 of their 28 points in the matchup against the Green Bay Packers. He systematically beat them by himself. Aaron Rodgers, 27-41 for 291, 3 touchdowns. Couldn't get much else going. 28-22. The Green Bay Packers defense was a joke. They could not stop Dalvin Cook, and that ultimately led to their demise. Let's move on to the third of the games. The Jets. Well, of course, this was something we knew was going to happen as the Kansas City Chiefs just annihilated them. The Chiefs are 7-1 in the NFL. The defending champions stand at 7-1, 3-1 at home. They decimated, destroyed, and shot the Jets down 35-9. Mahomes 31-42 for 416. He had 5 goddamn touchdowns thrown in this game. 5 touchdowns. He had a QBR rating of 91.5. A QBR, it's just amazing. Mahomes 5 touchdowns in this game through the air. Their rushing attack, not much you needed. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, 6 carries for 21 yards. Didn't need too much. Kels caught 1 of those touchdowns, 8 catches, 109. Tyreek Hill had 2 of those, 4 catches for 98 yards, 2 scores. Nicole Hartman had 1 as well, 7 catches, 96 yards. And then DeMarcus Robinson had 4 catches, 63 yards, and a touchdown. So he was spreading the wealth as the Kansas City Chiefs punched the teeth out of the Jets 35-9. Uncle Mozzi, what's your thought process on those trials games?
Well, I mean, obviously, Kansas City, not my favorite mob. I got an old friend of mine. We've been going back and forth about Kansas City since I was a Denver Broncos fan. But I mean, hats off to him. He did 4 touchdowns and a shovel pass. I mean, you can't beat it. I mean, you can't beat it jointed. I was in denial for a very long time.
I remember that guy. Is he?
Remember that because I was a big Alex Smith fan, and I'm old school, and I don't believe a guy should lose his job to injury. But damn, that dude's something serious, man. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know what the scouting report was. I don't know what kind of inside information they had about this kid, man. But this kid is turning to be something special. No Russell Wilson by any stretch of the imagination, but I mean, yeah, he's still something serious. As far as Indy, man, I mean, you kind of knew what that was going to be already. Indy's one of those teams, man, that's kind of sneaky. Sometimes they'll win, sometimes they won't. They're not real entertaining. Nobody kind of tunes into the Indianapolis games, really, since Peyton left. I guess they thought Phillip might spark up, a sense of nostalgia or maybe a reckoning to try to bring the team back to what it once was. But I mean, I just don't see it. A game had to be played though, right? Because it's on the schedule. And lastly, Green Bay, man, I'm confused. I mean, one week we get a Green Bay team that we just know hands down is going to win the Super Bowl. Aaron Rodgers is going to win the MVP. This team is going to be a 1-2 loss team tops. And then the next week we get, a Green Bay team that look like they'll lose to, like, I don't know, De La Salle or something. I don't know. So it's like you get one week you get one thing, the next week you get the other thing. I just don't know. It's almost like going to McDonald's, 1 week and the quarter pounder was great, and then you go the next week and it tastes like wood chips or some shit. I don't know. But like, we got to figure out an identity because it's like crazy. They're all over the board, so I don't know. Those are my take on that trifecta, brother.
All right, let's keep it running. The Miami Dolphins are up next in the most surprising win of Week 8. They were able to beat the Los Angeles Rams 28-17. A lot of credit has to be given to the Dolphins defense to be able to do what they did to the Rams. They knocked Goff down twice in this matchup, taking them down. They picked them off twice as well. So the Dolphins defense really made life uncomfortable for Jared Goff. But Tua Tagovailoa was in the building. 12 of 22, 93 yards. Nothing great, but he had his first passing touchdown and got his first win as a professional quarterback. Myles Gaskin was the top rusher for them, 18 carries for 47 yards. He had a score. Their top receiving threat was Durham Smythe, who had 2 catches for 16 yards. Myles Gaskin, 3 for 16, not much there. But he was still able to find Devontae Parker for the only touchdown that he threw in the end zone there. Jared Goff, 35 of 61. That's right, 61 attempts, 355, 1 touchdown, 2 picks, sacked twice. He had a QBR of 12.8. Henderson was the top back, 18 carries, 47 yards. That's ridiculous. That's just utterly ridiculous. But they go down, they lose, and now they're 5-3.
The man got a 12 out of 100. He should be punished. Did he get sent to his room?
No, he
my
did
mom
not.
would have sent me to my room if I'd have brought home a 12, bro. I'm gonna just be honest. But go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, 12.8, bro. You round that off. That is terrible. But that they go down, right. They lose to the Dolphins, and that was the shocker game of the week for me.
Oh man, I didn't want them to lose to the Dolphins with Tua in, bro. I didn't, because I gotta hear this out your mouth now about this Tua food.
Yes, indeed, and it's only gonna get worse for you, my friend. All right, let's move on to the next one. Pittsburgh Steelers, okay, in a really good matchup. The Steelers took on a very tough Baltimore Raven club. This was a tough physical matchup. Steelers got the best of them. Listen, don't look now, but the Steelers are 7-0, man. 7-0. They beat the Baltimore Ravens 28-24. Big Ben 21-32, had 182, 2 touchdowns in the matchup. James the Terminator 15 carries, 47 yards, had 1 rushing touchdown. Juju Smith-Schuster, 7 catches off of 8 targets.
Say it 5 times real fast.
I cannot do
5
it.
5 times real fast now.
I can't do it.
I can't say it 1 time, so I know you can't say it 5, but you good for 1.
I can't do it. I can do it. I got one good one. I can't do it. But he
you practiced that. You must have been in the mirror before the show.
I just know how to say his name, Juju Smith-Schuster. That's just how. I just not. But he did pretty well in this one though. He did pretty this one. We had Eric Ebron, 4 catches, 48 yards. Chase Claypool, 5 catches, 42 yards. He had a score as well, as Claypool continues to absorb this offense as well. And it's a good mixture with what's going on with Juju. And of course, on the other side with Baltimore, Lamar Jackson, 13 of 28, 208, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He was sacked 4 times in the matchup. J.K. Dobbins got busy, though, 15 carries for 113. Gus Edwards behind him at 16 for 87. Lamar ran 16 for 65. Despite all of that, wasn't enough. Willie Snead was the top guy. 5 catches, 106 off of 7 targets. Devin Duvernay, they got to get this young speedster going. And this offense, Marquise Brown, really wasn't nothing in this one, man. He was removed from the game plan totally. They go down 28-24 against the Pittsburgh Steelers. How about that? And of course, moving on to the next matchup, another of the trifectas, the Denver Broncos actually did a surprise too. Not to take nothing away from what Miami did, but Denver beat the Chargers, which I still give it to Miami as the surprise upset special of Week 8. Denver turned in a really close outing. They put up 21 points in the fourth quarter to take the game away from the Chargers, 31-30. Drew Lock, 26 of 41, 248, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. He was sacked a couple of times, had a QBR of 60.9. Philip Lindsay, 6 carries for 83 yards and 1 score. Top guy thrown to. You got Deshaun Hamilton, had 4 catches, 82 yards and a score. Jerry Jeudy, 4 catches, 73 yards off of 10 targets as well. Justin Herbert, 29 of 43, 278, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, sacked twice. Can't do that. Justin Jackson had 17 carries for 89 yards as their top back, and Mike Williams had 5 catches, 99 yards, and a touchdown. Keenan was in there as well. 9 catches, 67 yards, and a score off 11 targets. Not enough. Chargers are now 2-5. 2-5. Denver's 3-4. 31-30. Denver. Mozzie. And what were your thoughts on this trifecta of games?
Well, I'm gonna go ahead and skip the last aforementioned game, so we're not gonna even review San Diego and Denver. It was just a dumpster fire of a game, and I really wish it was painful to watch, especially in the replays. A lot of the botch boobery that I see. So we're gonna skip that game, but let's go. We're gonna go back to the Pittsburgh game. Pittsburgh is playing some really good football right now. They're at the top of their game. It wasn't gonna be long before they got back to their winning ways. I mean, Ben was up and down over the last couple seasons. Last year, obviously, he had the big injury that sidelined him for the duration of the season after he got injured, and that season was just a wash. One thing that we didn't mention that we might want to mention, since we are an African American hosted and owned and operated show, Mike Tomlin became the winningest black coach, only behind in front of Tony Dungy, with the win yesterday. I think he picked up win number 140, if I'm not mistaken. Just an interesting tidbit for those of you that follow that. I mean, Mike Tomlin has quietly become a legend in his own right, an African American coach legend in his own right, above Tony Dungy. And I mean, a lot of people herald Tony Dungy as the I guess the most winningest. I think he's probably the most popular, but they is the winningest black coach ever, behind like maybe Eddie Robinson or something like that. I was on the collegiate level, so that probably doesn't even count. But yeah, hats off to him for being the winningest black coach with picking up his 140th victory. And you got to think about that, man. You only gonna win 10, 11, 12 games a season. So to pick up 140 wins, that means you're playing some really, really good football. Because you've had some losing seasons, and their last year was a losing season. But hats off to him. Shout out to Pittsburgh for what they're playing. It's a really vanilla team. I don't care for them because they're kind of up and down. We're gonna run the football. We're not gonna score a whole lot of points, and we're gonna beat you with our defense. They're really boring games to watch. All the Super Bowls were boring. There's nothing like spectacular about them. It was like watching open heart surgery with nobody, nobody bleeding out or nothing like that. So it's really vanilla and just like basic. But I mean, it is what it is. They're 7-0, so I can't really talk about them. And last but not least, Miami Dolphins with this Tua clown that you believed in. I think that Fitzpatrick was doing a hell of a job, and I definitely don't think he should have been yanked because if I'm not mistaken, they went into the bye with a victory, and the man had a job. They came out the bye, they got a victory, but the man doesn't have a job. And what did Tua throw for yesterday? Like 5 yards, 10 yards? What was it like? What was he like? Like 3 for 6, like 15 yards or something like that. That was definitely on the defense and on the run game, man. Tua didn't have anything to do with that. But obviously, people like you are going to give Tua the crown and put the cap on him and all this other foolishness. But he's no Joey B by any stretch of the imagination. So let's not ever get that confused or twisted.
All right, I appreciate the hate. But the reality is Tua won this game, man. What can I tell you, man? That's what he's there for. And he'll probably put an end to eventually when he learns that offensive system out there. He's been there a year. He ain't learned it yet? No, he just started. He started.
He must be in special ed.
No,
that's what it is.
But this kid is going to be special. He's going to be special, and he's going to take care of
his brother. Did you see what his brother did with the Terps Saturday?
Yeah, his brother's pretty good too. Although his brother's not as good as he is, but his brother is good as well.
Yeah, his brother's real good, bro. It must be that Samoan Hawaiian thing, bro. I don't know. I've never met a trash can like Hawaiian / Samoan. You think about it, I've never seen like a garbage football Hawaiian Samoan player. Like, yeah, I'll wait. A Hawaiian Samoan player, anything. Like they excel at everything. Like I'm definitely going to like Hawaii Samoa and drink the water, huh?
Aloe kakaha.
Aloe kakaha. That's what it is. Aloe kakaha. Yeah, that's what it is, bro.
That's who. I'm giving you a player, Uncle Mozzi. You said give me a trash can player. I gave you one. Aloe kakaha.
Oh, all right. I thought that was like a place or something, or like where we go to drink the water or some shit to be like. I don't know.
Yeah, it is.
I thought like Minnetonka or something, like the Minnetonka of like the Pacific or something. I don't know.
No, it's a player.
Huh? Is it a player? What's his name again?
Aloe kakaha.
Bless you. Listen, but this is what I'm saying. Bro, this is what I'm saying, right? I've never seen a trash can like Hawaiian. Russell Wilson is like half Hawaiian or some foolishness. Yeah, Barack Obama was like Hawaiian. Like, Jesus, like, I want to go to Hawaii, bro. I'm from Hawaii. I'm no longer from Louisiana. I renounced my citizenship. I'm a citizen of Hawaii. As a matter of fact, Honolulu. That's where I'm from, if anybody has. And I've changed my name to Baby Odin. So well, go ahead. I digress.
That's pretty cool because Slick Side, you just praised, even though you just shut down Tua Tagovailoa, you got rid of Tua. You just call him a trash can. You disrespected him, and then you take his Hawaiian roots and then apply them to your own. That's very unique there, Uncle Mozzi.
I was praising his brother. I was just like the guy we all know. I was praising his brother, bro. It had nothing to do with him. So, like, let's not get that twisted. Like, no, I'm definitely not a fan of... Bro, he's an arch rival of mine. That's like you saying you're cool with... Like, so you totally were all right with Bobby Abel going to the Falcons back in, like, 93. No, you weren't.
Nope.
So, like, you weren't cool with it. You weren't. So, like, let's not play like you were. He's my arch enemy. He went against my team. He beat my team. And I have nothing for him.
Uncle Mozzi, and I think that's very awesome, bro, that you would give Tua Tagovailoa credit like that. Thank you for that, and I think him and his family appreciate you giving them that credit. Let's move on to the next thing right there. How about this, Uncle Mozzi, for you? The Saints and the Bears, man. 26-23. They took care of business in overtime, 26-23. We were able to kick the Bears out of it in overtime. Drew Brees, 31-41, 280. 2 touchdowns, sack once, had a QBR of 77.0. Elvin Kamara, 12 carries, 67 yards, average 5.6 yards per carry. He also had 9 catches for 96 yards, 11 yards per catch off of 13 targets. Jared Cook off of 5 targets, 5 catches, 51 yards in the score. Traquan Smith off of 7 targets, 5 catches, 43 yards. Did pretty good. Nick Foles, 28-41, 272, 2 touchdowns, picked off by Kamara, sacked 5 times by the Saints, QBR rating 48.8. And the Saints even stopped Montgomery from rushing the ball, 21 carries, 89 yards. Didn't get that 100. So the Saints streak continued to climb and stopping backs from reaching 100 yards on the game. Big time on that. Allen Robinson was their top threat, 6 catches, 87 yards. Had a fantastic diving catch that helped them. Anthony Miller was second with 8 catches off 11 targets, 73 yards. And of course, former Tulane wide receiver Darnell Mooney had 5 catches for 69 yards in the score as well. Fantastic young wide receiver. The Saints 26-23 over the Chicago Bears as they improved to 5-2. The Bears are 5-3. Going against now, one of my favorite, Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson took the Seahawks up to 6 wins. They're now 6-1 after losing last week to Arizona. They took apart the Niners 37-27 in a feisty game as Russell had 27-37, 261, 4 touchdowns. He was sacked a couple of times, QBR rating of 88.5. DJ Dallas was their top running back, 18 carries, 41 yards in the score. DK Metcalf was not human yesterday. This guy is this dude is from the other side of the future. This guy is not real.
Hawaii.
He must
He's
be
from Hawaii.
He must be a Hawaii ultra
instinct. Got like a Hawaiian uncle or something, right? That's how you got the superpowers.
12,
I'm listening.
12 catches, 161. 2 touchdowns off of 15 targets. He averaged 13.4 yards every time he caught the ball. This is amazing. 37-27, 2 touchdowns this guy had in the matchup. He was just off of 12 catches. Phenomenal game for DJ Metcalf. against this team. Jimmy Garoppolo left the game with an injury, 11 of 16, 84 yards. He had an interception. He was sacked 3 times, left the game. Nick Mullins came in, 18 of 25. He had 2 touchdowns. Did a pretty decent job and just wasn't enough. Their top back was Jermichael Hasty. They've been struggling all season long to get the running attack going. Top receiving threat was Brandon Ayuk, 8 catches, 91 yards in the score. Kendrick Bourne, 8 catches, 81 yards. San Francisco are at 500 now, at 4-4 after Seattle took them apart. Moving on. And then, of course, 23-9, Dallas now are 2-6 on the year, as Philly is 3-4, as they were able to dispatch the Cowboys with no issues at all. 23-9. You look at what happened. Carson Wentz, 15 of 27, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, sacked 4 times, QBR rating of 29.6. Boston Scott, that's right, our old Boston Scott, who Philly plucked off the practice squad. Saints didn't stop him. He had 15 carries for 70 yards in the matchup. Travis Fulgham, 6 catches, 78 yards off of 7 targets. Jalen Rigger, 3 catches for 16 and a score. Also, Travis Fulgham had a touchdown grab as well. On the other side with the Dallas Cowgirls, Ben DiNucci, their quarterback, 21 of 40, 180 yards. The dude didn't have no touchdowns, 0 interceptions. He was sacked 4 times. He had a QBR of 21.2. Zeke Elliott's 19 carries, 63 yards. You would think that the Cowboys would kind of lean a little bit heavy on Zeke, being that they have a third-string good-ass quarterback in there. 19 carries for Zeke Elliott, 63 yards. They put Tony Pollard in there for 7 carries, 40 yards as well. And 5.7 on the carry. Michael Gallup had 7 catches for 61 yards. 6 for Dutch Schultz, the tight end, for 53 yards in the matchup. Uncle Mozzi, 23-9. Philly took down the Dallas Cowgirls. What you thought on these trifecta of games?
Well, I'll work backwards, man. First of all, the Dallas situation, man, is dismal. It's time to, okay, this is what we got to do. Not we, because I'm not a Dallas fan, but like if I was Jared or his son, Jerry or Steve, I'm moving Dak right now while I got him under contract, even though he's under a franchise tag. I am obviously not pleased with Dak's performance. I don't think he's my guy because I would have signed him. I'm going to move him now because there are a lot of teams that need quarterbacks. I'm going to move him for some high draft picks, 1s and 2s only. I'm going to trash for Trevor. I've already got my future wide receiver. I've already signed Zeke. I think Cooper signed. We've signed everybody we need to sign. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not a Dallas Cowboy fan. They've signed everybody they need to sign. They don't believe Dak is the future. Dalton is already signed. He's a quality backup. I move Dak now. I trash for Trevor. I come back next year when everything makes sense again, August, September of 2021, and then I try for my run again. The problem is Jerry wants now because Jerry's old and Jerry, feels as though he didn't have that much time left. So he wants to win a Super Bowl. It's on his bucket list. Almost Super Bowl is definitely on his bucket list. But I fear that that's going to compromise his better judgment. Me, myself, I'm moving Dak right now. And once I move him, I'm automatically going to try to transfer Trevor. I'm getting me some 1 and 2 on the draft pick, maybe some cash to go with him. I've already signed everybody else. I don't have to worry about caps or anything like that. I don't have to worry about re-signing him under the tag. I can sign Trevor under a rookie contract. I already got Dalton for like a hot sausage on bun, and we're good. You see what I'm saying? That's what I'm doing if I'm Dallas. Hats off to Philly, but Philly, I think this was more of Dallas beating themselves and you actually winning the game, because top to bottom, Dallas is just a much more talented team. They got a better coaching staff. They got everything about Dallas, top to bottom, is just better. Stadium's bigger. Fans are more engaged. I mean, so like Dallas is the team in that NFC East. Always have been. With Philadelphia coming in as a second stepchild, but other than that, I'm moving now, get on from trash to Trevor, and I rebuild my organization. Hats off to Philly, but they beat them. You didn't beat them. Saints and Bears. I didn't see the last part of the game, but when I woke up in the hospital room after they revived me and resuscitated me, I saw that the Saints had kicked the field goal in overtime, because that's what they do to me every single week. We got to stop this, man. We got to come out and definitively beat people. You cannot have me glued to my television set the entire 3.5 hour duration of the game, wondering whether or not you're going to win, asking myself, why haven't you obliterated the Chicago Bears team that we all know is not who they say they are? They're not the team they say they are. But for whatever reason, week in and week out, people let them make it, but we clearly see the chinks in the armor. They try to switch it up to Nick Foles to give them an energy boost or a swag boost, but that didn't really help either. I think the Saints have just gotta they gotta hone in, and they know what they do. They're doing what they need to do to win games, yeah. But I mean, that's getting a little old. I'm gonna just be honest with you. It's getting a little old. It's really dated, and I'm just tired of having to go through that each and every single week in dealing with this team. And I know you probably share the same sentiments I do, because I've been there with you while you're watching the game, cursing out the team, stumping your feet, and almost about to break your own television. So I know what you go through, and I feel for you. I really do. But we got to come up with a better game plan. I think Sean Payton's system is getting a little dated. I think people are onto it now. That's why you're not seeing these hellacious 35, 42, 45, 50 point. When is the last time we really hung 40 on a team definitively without them hanging 35 or 40 on us? See, that's the questions that I need answered. And I need to know why that is, because it's not like we don't have the talent to make that happen. It's not like we don't have the ability from a coaching standpoint, because Sean Payton is a really good offensive coach. He's a genius at what he does. I just think that sometimes he gets cute, and I think that sometimes his game plan has to change up or has to switch up, because if he doesn't, it's going to lead to Drew Brees retiring at the end of this year, beat up, banged up, and without a Vince Lombardi trophy to put on airline. That's what I see out of this team. Going to San Francisco and Seattle. I mean, obviously, you know, Seattle is the best team in that division. I'm a Russell Wilson fan. Been a Russell Wilson fan for at least 4 or 5 years now. I wasn't too big of a fan on him, because obviously, you know, I'm real big on loyalty, and you do know that he took Matt Malk out for that starting position when both of them were rookies, and Matt Malk had just come off a he went to Green Bay. They got traded from Green Bay. So, but Matt Malk, I felt should have started in Seattle and didn't. He lost his job to Russell Wilson. And the first question I asked myself when they said that happened, I said, who? And then I realized that it was Russell Wilson after he won his first Super Bowl, and then he went to the second Super Bowl. But now I'm all in. I'm sold. San Francisco, you know who they are. We've talked about that. You'll get a San Francisco team every 10 to 15 years that is just dominant, and then it's like Jeepers Creepers. I don't know. You know what? They're the Jeepers Creepers of the NFL. They come alive every 15 years, punish everybody, and then you don't hear from them for another 15 years, just like the man of Jeepers Creepers. That's what you're going to get with them. I'm so mad. I'm so angry that I drafted on my fantasy team Garoppolo, because he just can't stay healthy. And when he is healthy, he's running for his life, and he's always getting knocked down. He's forcing the ball and throwing interceptions. I think that he didn't get the memo that he's the new Brad Johnson. He doesn't need to do anything but like call timeouts when need be, watch the game clock, and never audible a play. If he sticks to those 3 things, I think that's winning football for them. Do you not? I think their defense is hellacious. I think their run game is pretty good. They got one of the best tight ends behind Kelsey in the NFL. So all we need you to do is just call timeouts when need be, watch the game clock, you know, and make sure you manage the game. We don't need anything cute from you. We got cheerleaders for that. But you know, outside of that, that's the San Francisco team that I've seen, like 95. Then they came back again in 2012. Then they came back again in 2000. So you see the pattern. Like they take these breaks, these really long breaks. From 95, you didn't see them since what, 87. So you see how that works with them. But I mean, that's how it works. But I mean, you know, San Francisco still has an opportunity, still have a shot. They are 500. They can figure something to put together. They can make a deep run really, really late and try to make it. But again, that NFC is really, really crowded, and it's going to be tough. So if you're not winning your division, you're really not guaranteed anything. I think this is going to be the first year we see an 11-12 win team not even make a wild card, you know, and I think that'll be, I've never seen anything like it. It'd be interesting. With the sidebar, talking about Hawaiian people, like The Rock is everybody's favorite person, and he's from like Samoa or something or whatever. So like, bro, I'm telling you, something about Hawaii. We really got to research that and find out, like, maybe Hawaii is like the anti-Bermuda Triangle. Like, yeah, and his dad was he's a rock star. That's why he called him Rock, because he's a rock star, and he's like Samoan. That gives him superpowers. You realize, like, nothing that he does, he fails at. Hawaiians are the best, bro. I need to move there. I need to figure that out. But go ahead.
All right, thank
And they
you.
all strong, with like strong head, strong cheekbones, everything. It's like
The-
crazy, bro. The Rock really tethered a Tomahawk helicopter to like a tow truck with his bare hands. And you telling me Hawaii is not the best? I saw it on a movie, so I know they're not lying. Before you go there, I saw it on TV. Hawaiian bread, the Hawaiian bread is even good, bro. Hawaiian steaks, like nothing from Hawaii is like, it's crazy. But go ahead, I just like go ahead.
What's it called? Tahitian punch? Is that from Hawaii too? Is that from Hawaii?
The Fusion Tree, that's even fire. What are you talking about? And listen, you know what my favorite big shot is? Ohana punch. It all ties in.
It all makes sense.
It all makes sense, bro. I'm telling you. I promise you.
Well, we got Uncle Mozzi all of a sudden, man. He done landed on the island, man. So there is Uncle Mozzi. He's all in for the Hawaiian culture.
Aloha.
It's all good. It's all good, bro.
Is that right? I know it's Japanese. Konnichiwa, aloha, one of the two. I'm one of them, right? I'll just say both of them. That way I know I got the right one.
All right, let's move on to the next the Monday night matchup tonight with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking on the New York Giants. Tampa Bay 5-2, man. 2-2 away. They got the Giants who are 1-6, 1-2 at home. Tom Brady coming into the matchup 176 out of 268, 1,910 yards. He has 18 touchdowns on the season with only 4 interceptions against his counterpart Daniel Jones, 143 for 238, 1,400 passing yards, 5 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. And their top rushing backs are, of course, Ronald Jones II, 110 carries for 506 yards, 4 rushing touchdowns. Daniel Jones leads his team in rushing with, of course, Saquon Barkley gone for the year. 31 carries he has for 296, so the top passer, top rusher. And, of course, the receiving threat for the both teams are Scotty Miller, 22 catches, 365, 2 touchdowns. And, of course, Slayton, 27 catches for 429 and 3 touchdowns. Interesting matchup. This, to me, I think this has Tampa Bay all over. But if you look at matchups that happen during the week with Denver and Miami, surprising teams, you never know who might come to play. Uncle Mozzi, what's your thoughts on who gets this matchup? Tampa Bay, of course, you know who I want to win. I'm be raring up for the Giants to knock them off, but we'll see.
So, right. All my cognitive reasoning just like shuts off when it comes to my team. So like, even though I know Tampa Bay is gonna win against the Giants, like I'm all for the Giants tonight, all for them. I think the Giants are gonna take this 24-17 on everything I love.
Yeah, me too. I'm hoping for the Giants to be able to come alive, some strange coincidence, and beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who might be who are looking past them and looking at a direct meeting with the Saints, and they underestimate the Giants. The Giants punch them in the face, knock them out, and we get that'll be really a good thing as well. Some information on the NFL is Jimmy Garoppolo expected to be out indefinitely. That's right, indefinitely, with a high ankle sprain that occurred in the matchup yesterday. Garoppolo expected to be out indefinitely due to a lingering high ankle sprain. The source told ESPN's Adam Schefter today. Garoppolo was initially injured in week 2. It came back and they shut him down. A lot of news there. Tennessee Titans acquired cornerback Desmond King in a trade from the Chargers. Titans made a move to show up the secondary, acquiring cornerback Desmond King in the trade with the Chargers. That's right, Desmond King also can kick return, punt return for you. Big cornerback who's pretty good in the nickel position. They need help with Adoree Jackson and those guys out. He's going to get a lot of playing time in the secondary for the Tennessee Titans. And of course, another move that was made today that had a lot of the Saints family members buzzing was the fact that the Saints acquired via trade Quan Alexander from the San Francisco 49ers in exchange for injury-prone linebacker Kiko Alonso and a conditional 5th-round draft pick. Really interesting. The Saints get a linebacker that can now cover the tight ends, who can par with Demario Davis. And remember, family, Quan Alexander signed a 4-year contract with the Niners last year. Got 3 years remaining on that contract, which happens to mirror the exact same amount of years that Demario Davis has on this contract. This might be the buddy that he's been looking for. And also, this puts Alexander Zaloni out, if you know what I mean. Don't be surprised if they trade him or what have you. I wouldn't be surprised at all. Hopefully, we can package him in a move to get a veteran cornerback, perhaps a safety. And we're not done adding pieces to this team. Maybe another defensive end. They got the Kerrigan. They got Anderson, Kerrigan. There are other guys out there. Perhaps we can label, get some of those guys as well. And of course, the Saints defensive back Chauncey Gardner-Johnson denies reports that he spit on wide receiver Javon Wims. We'll cover this on our 5 o'clock show. Chauncey Gardner denied the report, saying that Wims told Bears official the Saints DB spit on him, leading to the Wims ejection for sucker punching him on the field Sunday. So very interesting, to say the least. Some interesting stories in today's NFL. And of course, more is going to be coming as we getting close and close. Tomorrow is the trade deadline, so we're expecting some more trades to occur. Perhaps the Saints have another surprise up their sleeves for us tomorrow. Hopefully so, man. We need another pass rusher and another defensive back to help out in that porous secondary. So that'll do it for the show today for TSC Unleashed, our jam-packed, slam-packed Monday edition. We'll be back Tuesday at 1 where our trade deadline show as well. And the latest news from Sunday into Monday into Tuesday. We'll figure it out. So I'd like to thank all you guys for tuning in for TSC Unleashed Monday edition. Hit the like button, share the stream. We appreciate y'all chiming in, and we'll see you later. Peace.